So, welcome to the second session on day 7. That is, we are going to discuss now SA 300. Actually, the standard heading, if you look at of SA 300, planning an audit of financial statements. Very simple heading. Planning an audit of financial statements. So, this standard is actually dealing with planning of an audit. Planning of an audit of financial statements. So this is the standard heading. But if you look at this SA 300, it speaks about three different concepts relating to planning. It speaks about three different concepts relating to planning. One, they talk about, in fact, I can say overall audit strategy. Overall audit strategy. Then they talk about audit plan. Then they talk about audit plan. Then they speak about audit program. Then they speak about audit program. So there are three concepts the standard on auditing 300 is actually talking about. You know, in reality, in practical world, we don't use these three terms, in a different way. In fact, we combined all of them. In practical world, we just simply develop a concept called audit plan. We simply develop a document called audit plan. This itself is called as audit program memorandum, audit strategy memorandum, audit planning memorandum. Like I'll show you how audit plan looks like. I even showed you previously in the documentation chapter when we are discussing documentation marathon class. That time itself I showed you. This is a plan. So we simply first we go and first we will be appointed. Then we will first get the idea of the organization. Then we will execute risk assessment procedure. Then we will check whether what are the items that we need to verify. Then we will look at who is the person responsible to do the work, for how many days they have to do the work, and what are all they need to follow, how much sample they should take. Extent of checking is nothing but sample. So everything we incorporate and we plan the audit in this way. Then we send the team will go to the client premises and they audit and come back. So that's what practically that we do. But if you observe, the standard uses three different terms: audit strategy, audit plan, audit program. For every client, whenever we are doing audit, the strategy that we are going to adopt might be different. See, if you observe, no, it is not there in the actual study material of the ICI, but I'm telling you, the audit strategy, if you look at any guidance notes on audit strategies, especially audit strategies are two types: compliance based audit strategy, substantive based audit strategy. What is compliance based audit strategy? Suppose if in an organization, completely it is automated environment. A particular organization is completely in automated environment. If a particular organization is completely working in automated environment where the transactions are completely processed through systems, it is highly advisable to check the system processes rather than the transaction. Rather than the substantive part of the transaction, it is better to check the system process. Are they complying with the rules and regulations? So compliance-based, control-based audit strategy. We also call it as control-based audit strategy, where we give major importance to internal controls rather than the actual transactions. We verify transactions also, but major attention is given for controls. Whereas in an organization where the controls are weak, where the controls are not that reliable, or the organization is not mostly dependent on information technology, where organization is executing all the transaction using manual processes, there we may follow substantive based audit strategy, where we give major importance for test of details rather than controls and policies and processes. Audit strategy can be two ways. Sir, how do we know which strategy we should follow? It's a matter of professional judgment, varies from client to client, case to case. Sir, is there any factors for deciding us to which strategy we should follow? Is there any factors in the material? Yes. You know, there are three concepts I said, right? Audit strategy, audit plan, audit program. Yes or no? If you observe this, audit strategy, if you look at, audit strategy has what are the factors? What are the factors for developing an audit strategy? And then what are the advantages of audit strategy? Again, if you look at plan, no, again, there are two more parts. What are the factors for developing an audit plan and what are the advantages? Again, if you look at the program, what are the factors for developing an audit program and what are the advantages? You know, this chapter, my sincere advice is either read the material which I am giving you or read the ICA material. We have comprehensively covered all the topics. Especially if you follow ICA material, that is even more good study material for this chapter alone. Okay, in ICA material, it is some third or fourth chapter. It is third or fourth chapter as per ICA material. So, which means indirectly in this particular chapter, we are going to look at 6 questions. By the way, I'm not explaining, I'm only giving you a glimpse of what is there in this chapter. So what is the relationship between audit strategy and audit plan and audit program? First, audit strategy is what? Based on the environment of the organization, I decide either control based strategy or substantive based strategy. So based on some factors, I will decide my strategy. Then what should I do? I should develop a plan. I should develop the plan. See, this is the plan. The document which I'm showing you now is a plan. So like where we mentioned, if you look at the highlighted area, if you see, this is a highlighted area. I'm mentioning what I need to work on. Who will work on it in my team? What is the duration? How much time they have to spend? What extent? And what are all they need to do inside that? Suppose no, if this instructions column I mentioned very carefully, what are all they need to do? Comprehensively, I mentioned instruction, opening balance, you have to verify. Step 1. Suppose I just did like this. I just did like this. Suppose I mentioned step 1 in opening balances, obtain previous year audited financial statement. Step 2, obtain so and so. Step 3, reconcile both. Suppose in each area of audit that we planned, look at the terminology I'm using. In each area of audit that we planned, how to perform that work, a step-by-step process. If at all we are giving complete kit of instruction, complete set of instruction, complete guide we are giving you. That guide, that instruction, detailed instruction for each and every area, how to perform is called as a program. See, audit strategy is just an overall view. I will just understand what I'm going to do in this organization. Plan is detailed. It's a detailed plan based on the strategy. It's a detailed plan. We will develop a detailed plan based on the strategy. What is program? Program contains what are the set of instructions for each and every area we planned that audit team has to follow. The engagement team person has to do, what techniques is to apply, what tools he has to follow, what are the methods he should follow, how he should do each and every work planned. So that is program, which means program is much more detailed version of plan. But in reality, we mostly give attention to plan and then program. Strategy word is very rare we use in reality. But as per the standard, it has used 3 different terms. What are the factor? 3 different terms: strategy, plan, program. How to develop strategy, how to develop the strategy, factors. What are the benefits? How to develop the plan, factors. What are the advantages? How to develop the program, factors, and what are the benefits? By this, you would have understood in my material, you will be finding 6 questions here. You will be finding 6 questions here. So like one second, I'm going to listing out. One second, I'm going to list out. Okay. SCA 300 chapter we are now discussing. So we are having audit strategy, audit plan, and audit program. Yes or no? Now here we are having 2 questions. So how to develop? Nothing but factors and benefits. What are the benefits or advantages? Here, audit plan. Here also, we are going to look at factors, and then we are going to look at benefits. And program, we are going to look at factors, and then we are going to look at benefits. So three things, three different concepts. Each concept has two different questions, concepts, sub concepts. Now if you observe in the question number 1 in the material or PDF I'm using, okay, what are the factors the auditor will consider while establishing overall audit strategy? So factors related given under question number 1. Now if you look at the second question, you know, see, I mean, not second question, fourth question. Yeah. How overall audit strategy assist means benefits, helps the auditor, nothing but benefits, which is there in the question number 4. Then coming to what are the factors for effective conduct of audit, various aspects to be considered while developing an audit plan, you have question number 5. What are the benefits of planning? You have somewhere in the question number 7. Planning benefits. Question number 7. What are the factors that you take into account for developing a program, for developing an audit program? So that is there in question number, just a minute, 13, I think so. Yeah, 13th question. Developing an audit program is there in 13th question. Benefits are also there in that next question. Advantages of program, 14th question. So question number 13 and question number 14. Simply tell me what points you consider while developing, whether it is strategy, plan or program. First, you will understand what is the characteristic of your engagement. Are you a stat auditor, internal auditor? Scope and objective you need to understand. You need to understand the nature and size of the business, complexity involved. Yes or no? You need to understand the internal controls. You need to do risk assessment and understand the areas where risk is involved. Yes or no? You need to understand the capital structure. There are so many things that you need to understand while developing strategy, plan, program. You need to look at resources you have. So many things. See, this is something that I cannot give you an in-depth explanation. In a marathon, I can give you how to learn this chapter. I can guide you on how to learn. Okay. Now, if you look at factors, how to read this factor, I'm explaining you how to study this. Okay. How to study that also I'm explaining. How to study the chapter also I'm explaining. If you look at first question, if you look at, so how we develop overall audit strategy. So how do we develop overall audit strategy? Overall audit strategy we can develop by considering the following factors. By considering the following items, I can develop a strategy. What items you will consider before you decide control based strategy, substantive based strategy? Before you decide strategy of audit, what points you take into account? First point, I will look into account characteristics of the engagement. See, first of all, I told you audit is an engagement. Whatever the work that we are doing, it is, instead of calling it as contract in our profession, we call it as engagement. So characteristics of engagement. Sir, what do you mean by characteristics of engagement? Don't worry, we have another question. Question number 2. See, wow, the characteristics of, it is an exclusive question. This way also examiner can ask you, while establishing overall audit strategy, the auditor shall identify characteristics of engagement. Okay, give some examples. What do you mean by characteristics of engagement? So question number 1, along with that, you have to read question number 2 along with question number 1. Then again, if you see second point, what are they saying? Ascertain reporting objectives of the engagement. This question is asked in November 2019 for 3 marks. Only the second point, where you will find in nothing but question number 3. Where you will find nothing but question number 3. If you check, no, this for this you have a detailed answer in question number 2. For this you have a detailed answer in question number 3. Question number 3, if you look at, while establishing strategy, reporting objectives you have to consider, right? And what do you mean by reporting objectives? Can you explain? They have given here. This question itself is asked for 3 marks in November 2019 paper auditing. Okay, so while developing for factors related, you need to do question number 1, question number 2, question number 3. Not only that, question number 4, not question number 4. What is that fourth point? Consider the results of preliminary engagement activity. Oh my God, they're giving you one more point. You need to consider the result of preliminary engagement activity. So what is preliminary engagement activity? You open standards material, SEA 300. You open in the same book, standards material. In that, SEA 300 is there. Inside that, what are preliminary engagement activities? There is a side heading. Okay, so that particular open that standard, only that topic is covered there. What are preliminary engagement activities? Auditor has to perform procedures given under SEA 220. Auditor has to perform procedures given under SEA 210. Auditor has to verify relevant ethical requirements. That's it. Answer over. Again, when you're reading preliminary engagement activity, it is covering 3 points: SEA 220, SEA 210. SEA 220 means again you have to come to question number 13 of chapter 2, nature, objective and scope. That's how depth this question is. And fourth one, a general point: knowledge gained on other engagements, nature, timing, extent of resources necessary. Once you understand the organization, you naturally just look at what resources you need. Then you can plan your strategy. Once you planned resources, all that, then you need to look at planning, how to plan. Next, so first to fifth question, I gave referencing. Fifth question now we will do. Fifth question is even more complicated. You will even shock. Fifth question, audit planning. So with me, with this strategy related topic, I've completed. What is strategy? Conceptually explained you. What points you have to consider, I explained you. Gave reference also. It is your turn now to read. Now, audit plan. Question number 5 deals with how to develop the plan. How to develop the plan? First one, knowledge of client business is necessary before developing the plan. So you should have knowledge of client business. Sir, what do you mean by knowledge of client business? There is another question. There is another question on this. If you look at question number 18, I kept under self-study, but of course we explained in class. So question number 18, if you see, this speaks about what is meant by knowledge of client business. So which means if you're reading question number 5, first point, if you want to understand, you have to look at question number 18. I'm also giving reference here. Question number 18 in the material which I gave for factors, understanding factors. Okay, next. If you look at question number 18, it talks about what do you mean by knowledge of client business? Knowledge of client business means here numbering was wrong. Just mention it as first point. You need to understand what is the industry, regulatory, external factors. Sir, what do you mean by industry, regulatory, external factors? Again, there is another question. Question number 19 talks about what do you mean by relevant industry, regulatory and other external factors? Oh my God. So if you look at relevant industry, all that, question number 19. So here also question number 19. Now, second point, while developing plan, you should have knowledge of client accounting system, policies and control. Yes or no? Knowledge of client accounting system, all that. So what is meant by knowledge of client accounting system, all that, nature of entity, including operations. Okay, knowledge of that accounting, all that is very simple. Simply they gave. Here they give knowledge of entities, accounting policies, all that. Question number 21. If you look at knowledge of client business, first point is industry. Second point, what are the operations? Let me cover. Knowledge of client business will finish. Knowledge of client business includes relevant industry, and you need to understand operations, ownership and governance structure, and what is capital structure you need to understand. For which you need to understand question number 20. So if you look at, no, this is first point, just renumber it. Second point, I'm talking about knowledge of client business question. Inside knowledge of client business, first point you need to understand is relevant industry, regulatory, all that. If you want to understand industry regulatory, all that, you need to look at question number 19. Then you need to look at what are the operations, which business, ownership, who are the owners, governance structure, capital structure. If you want to understand this in more detail, you have question number 20. And then auditor shall evaluate accounting policies, all that. Question number 21. Auditor should look at businesses and objective strategies. Question number 22. Then auditor should review the performance of the entity. Question number 23. That's it. I think 23 is there. To the best of my knowledge, it is there. 21, 22. Yeah, only 22. That review of performance, we have not given any examples. I think only this is enough. Review of examples is not required. So question number 23 is not required. Only up to question number 22, which means now you see here, let us map it. Question number 5, if you want to understand, 18th question, 19th question, 20, 21, 22. So these are the questions you need to understand if you want to get a clarity on, how to develop an audit plan. How to develop an audit plan, we discussed it in the question number 5. In that question number 5, first point, it says knowledge of client business. What is knowledge of client business is there in question number 18. In knowledge of client business, what do you mean by that? They have given certain points. For each and every point, they have given a separate question. So complicated. Then benefits. The later one. What are the factors for developing an audit program? What are the factors for developing? That's a straight question. Here you need not worry. 13 and 14. That's it. If you observe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 13, 14. In between 6th question, 8th question, and 9th question, 10th question, 11th question. That we need to look at now. Okay. So while developing plan, auditors should get the knowledge of business, knowledge of accounting system, how far client internal controls are correct, then how to coordinate the work, all that. And one more point, the standard also clarifies audit planning is a continuous process. This is a true or false statement given in May 2019 for 2 marks where many students failed to answer. What is the statement? Planning is not a discrete phase of an audit, but rather a continual and iterative process. What is meant by that? Planning is not a discrete. It's not a separate phase. See, initially we develop a plan. Does it mean we keep it as it is? While we are conducting audit, we will be updating the plan regularly. So planning is not a discrete phase, but a continual and iterative process. Planning begins after completion of previous audit and continues until completion of current audit engagement. Planning always begins after completion of last year audit. Immediately I'll start plan. I will be thinking about next year audits. Then my planning process will be completed only when I give the audit report. Until I give audit report, my audit plan, whatever I develop, I will keep on, updating that in my mind. So planning is not a one-time process. It's a continuous process, iterative, repetitive process. That's what we said here. Then benefits of planning. Now audit strategy and plan. Whose responsibility? Ultimately, the engagement partner responsibility. The partner is responsible. He is the one who is responsible for planning and strategy. Of course, I will involve management, entities, persons, entity staff, company staff. I will consider. When I'm planning, I will have to talk to them. Why? Because I need to do inventory physical verification. They should help me. So when I'm going to do, I should give them some hint at least, not exactly. But remember, you cannot discuss a detailed plan of action with the client. Have some surprise elements, surprise checks related things and all you should not disclose. Not only them, you will also involve your team members, right? When you're planning, can you plan isolated without considering your team members' request views, their capabilities, all that? So you need to talk to them. You need to talk to management. Just because you're talking to them, your staff, does it mean for strategy and planning they are responsible? No. For development of strategy, development of plan, you, Mr. Auditor, is ultimately responsible. That's what this question says. What is the relationship between strategy and plan? They both are directly related. So strategy gives you overall view of the audit, whereas plan takes into account audit objectives, resources allocation, all that. They are closely related. If there is a change in strategy, there will be a change in plan naturally. Audit plan need not be changed during the course of audit. False. Whenever some unexpected event happened, changes in condition, information came to the knowledge of the auditor, something which he doesn't know earlier. Obviously, he will change the plan. Audit plan is something dynamic and offer flexibility. You should update it whenever circumstances comes. Direction, supervision, review of audit by auditor. This you don't read, because if you want to understand, this is not the class for where you can understand. This is only a marathon. I can only cover important stuff, not everything. And then auditor has to document strategy, plan, and of course program. And whenever you make any changes you have to document. Why you changed, reasons also you have to document. Then it comes to program question. What is program? How to develop program? Periodical review, advantages, everything is given here. Advantages. See, program, no, it's an evidence. A properly drawn up program is an evidence in court that you have properly conducted audit in accordance with standards. Okay. Then the concept of materiality came, which we already discussed. What is materiality? Revision of materiality, documentation of materiality, that and all we have already covered. This is what there in the planning chapter. I don't know how many of you have this overview on planning chapter. How many of you really have the knowledge of these three terms? So what are they exactly? See, if we doesn't know anything, no. If we doesn't know anything, that's okay. If you have clarity that there is something like this also, it's okay. The problem with many students or with many, institutes also, I can say, they are not explaining students what is exactly that you are supposed to learn. I don't know how many of you know this strategy plan program is such an in-depth chapter. I don't know how many of you are aware of it. But at least now you came to know how in-depth this standard has to be read. This standard has to be understood. See, if you want to follow the PDF book which I gave, you have to read this. You have to take a note of this diagram, this particular chart. If not, follow study material strategy chapter. If at all you think these many questions, where are we getting these many questions? If at all you're getting this kind of doubt, means that's it. You have to read it. The reason why many IPCC students, especially I talk about why they fail, is they don't know what is the syllabus. First of all, what is the comprehensive syllabus? They don't know. They don't have any idea. I hope now you would have got an idea about what is strategy, what is plan, what is program. At least I made you a difference. What are they? And there are concepts, how to develop strategy, what are the benefits, how to develop plan, what are the benefits, how to develop program, what are the benefits. And already in this chapter, one important topic, 320 materiality, I covered very extensively in a very detailed manner. I hope you're all confident on that also. See, here I'm not spending much time. The reason is very simple. I made you understand what you need to learn. Now it is your turn to read each and every question and read on your room. So kindly reply me in the chat box, somebody. Are you all clear until now? Since this is a fast track class, I can't explain more than this. But I hope you have got at least the clarity of what you are supposed to learn in this. That's it. Fine. So this is regarding planning chapter. Now what I'm going to do, after this session, I'm closing down the session within 5 minutes. I am going to upload a video called items of financial statements. Items of financial statements. How to do audit of items of financial statements. Audit. So what is the procedure to be followed for doing audit of items of financial statements? This is a 2-hour video. Please closely observe this video. Today itself you have to watch. This will be a 2 hours video. Whether you're an IPCC student or doesn't matter, this chapter is going to help you to understand how we do in reality purchases audit, sales audit, all that. So I will upload that video and I will add this video in the same playlist where you are watching marathon. Okay. Then tomorrow our agenda is what, audit of different types of entities. Audit of different types of entities. That's one agenda. And another one is government audit. For these 2 chapters also, what I am going to do is I'm going to give you guidance on how to prepare them. So 1 to 1.5 hours, I will be taking a session where you will get a comprehensive idea on how to deal with these chapters, how to understand these chapters. Only for these 2 chapters, I'm giving you guidance and of course strategy also. In regular batch, In regular batch also, I do the same. For items of financials, different types of entities, government audit, I only provide guidance, because these chapters are something where even if I do line by line explanation, you are going to get nothing. You are going to gain nothing. Okay, unless you read them on your own, you won't understand. And tomorrow, what I am going to do, standards. So now you may get a doubt. So what about standards? Actually, I thought of taking standards along with this itself, but just 1 minute. I'm stopping the recording. Yeah. So standards, what I'm going to do is for CA final and CA inter, the standards are same. So I'm going to do a combined session for standards where I will give not fast track revision, but I'll give a detailed explanation of each and every standard. So I'm going to do a standards class separately. I'm not going to mix with this. Okay. The dates of standards class I will announce after 15-20 days. We will be taking May end. I will be taking standards class. So May end or June first week, I will be taking standards class. I will announce you the dates. The group will continue, Telegram group. So I will announce you the dates. So my deliverable for you, items of financials, now I'm going to upload. Tomorrow, audit of different types of entities and government audit I'm going to upload. And tomorrow, what is that one more complimentary thing I'm going to give you? How to plan your auditing subject preparation. So what are the chapters where you should give major importance? What chapter you can give minor importance? I'm going to give you a beautiful strategy where you can easily score 55 plus in auditing with less efforts, provided you give that minimum efforts. So that is tomorrow's session. So today I'm going to give you items of financials video and audit of different types of entities. Tomorrow I will conduct a live session on this and this one. That's it. So what today you need to do is the strategy video, whatever now I telecasted, once again watch it, or take my material, read it. If not, take ICA material, read from that. Don't read planning chapter in any other material. No material in the market is competent to deliver this kind of clarity. That's it. So I'll take wind up. So tomorrow we will deliver that.